that the field will be in a column, and if you will move or if you will drag the any field in a rows column, then it will shows that field the data in a row values. So here sigma values will be calculated. Some functions like sum, average, count, that will be changed in sigma values. So this is the pivot table design that we can use in order to make a report. The next feature is the pivot. We have to use a charts that will be used in a charts. Also you can make a multiple pivot tables from the same data. So if you want to make a multiple pivot tables, then you have to select a pivot tables, and you can change the fields in a field options. So here I have shown that one pivot table will be here, another pivot table will be shown at row 20, and another pivot table will be shown at the column I. So this will shows the three multiple pivot table with the different options. So you can also make a master in pivot table and pivot graphs by practicing moving things around, and you can become a very much familiar to that one. You can also draw the charts in pivot charts can be also be drawn from the data that will be pivoted, that will be exported from the pivot table. So by selecting in pivot ribbon, if you will select a pivot table, then you may find that there will be a pivot charts. Just by clicking on the pivot graphs, you can the graph that will be for a exported data that will be automatically shown here. So you can change the graph also. You can also change its label. Okay, so all the options that you may perform in a charts option of the Excel, that also you can change here, but it will be for exported data.
Sir, how one can perform filtering and sorting the data in MS Excel 2013?
Yes. Here in Microsoft Excel, there are some features like auto filter. Okay, suppose you can search for blanks, or you can search for that how many values are non-blanks, or you can search for other data in a table. So first of all, you have to select a cell in a table, then go to our data menu, then you have to select a filter and auto filter. When you will select a auto filter, there will be a one list type options will be available on the each field. So by selecting that field, there are some options that unique options will be, or unique data will be shown in that options. So by selecting in that unique options, your data will be displayed according to your filtering criteria. So click on the arrows that you have to select from drop down list. Okay, so you can select the drop down list. When the data are in column and it needs to be in row, you have to use a paste special commands that we have seen earlier. So this will be shown in advanced Microsoft Excel. You can also use a advanced filter also. So auto filter will by default take a filtering, okay, as per your conditions. In advanced filter, you can write some formulas. So in advanced filter, you can find that more options will be available in advanced filter. So you can use that options of advanced filtering. Another is sorting. Sorting of the data. Some formulas and functions will be obtained like sum, average, Countif functions. So here in Excel, we can use some features like suppose here the data of name, age, department and salary that will be given, and if you want to count that the how many students have the grade, that is A grade, so you can write the function Countif. So Countif function will be used. That Countif, you have to select the range that is from B4 to B14, and then you have to write the options. In order to you have to write the range, and then you have to write the criteria that what you want to count. So according to criteria, it will count the number of rows, okay, that will be that will match the criteria. You can also use a if statement. For example, suppose we have a data of the students and their scores. if you want to find the scores or if you want to identify the results whether the student is pass or fail. So if your score is greater than 50, then the result will be pass, otherwise it is fail. So in order to calculate the result, you have to use a formula that is equal. Every formula will starts from equal to sign. Then you have to write if condition. Then in bracket you have to write if the score, that is you have to select a C2. If C2 is greater than 50, then the condition, then you have to write a statement which will match the condition. So if the value at C2 is greater than 50, your result will be pass. Okay, otherwise it will be fail. So you can write it as a if C2 greater than 50, comma, write in inverted comma pass, comma, then fail. So it will shows the result that which will be if the data that will match the criteria that will be greater than 50, then it will shows the result pass, otherwise it will shows the result fail. Similarly here also if you want to find a salesman that will whose sales is more than 5 items, he will be paid a 30 per item, otherwise he will be paid only a $20 per item. So in order to put a value here, you have to write a if condition. So if the value of D11, in this cell you have to write the formula that if D11 is greater than 5, then you have to write $30, you have to write 30, otherwise it is 20. So you can copy all that formula if conditions in all the remaining cells. Then in final salary, there is another condition that if a salesman seniority is greater than 6 months, then he get a bonus of $100, otherwise there is no bonus. So in order to find a final salary, here also you have to write a one condition that if your seniority is greater than condition as per the 6 months, if your seniority is greater than 6, so your value if C11 is greater than 6, then you have a 100 rupees bonus. So final salary can be calculated as the salary multiplied by number of items sold plus 100, otherwise it is only number of items sold into salary. So you can find a final salary by using that options, and by selecting copy and paste command you can also further use that functions in that. Then you have to write some if functions. Using some if functions you can find that if you want to find that what is the total salary of the persons those who are working in a sales department. So here you in some if function you have to write first of all the criteria that will be matched with your condition. So here sum if function will be used as a sum if. You have to write the range that is C3 to C15. Then you have to write the criteria as a cells in inverted commas, and then you have to write the criteria that will be you total, that you will be summed. So you have to select the salary column from D3 to D15. So it will count the total salaries of the persons or employees who are working in a sales department. So you can use that sum if function. Similarly, if you want to find the sum of salaries of all workers, those whose age is more than 35. So in order to perform this function, we can use a sum if function. So sum if, you have to write equal to sum if in an address bar. Then you have to select the criteria that will be for your age. So you have to select B3 to B15. Then you have to write in inverted commas greater than 35, and then you have to select that for which you want to make a sum. So you have to select D3 to D15. So in that way it will calculate the sum of the salaries of all the department whose age is greater than 35. Similarly, the sum of salaries of all workers whose sales department whose age is less than 35. So if you want to find the salary of the sales department employees whose age is less than 35, you can use a some if functions. So some Ifs function. So multiple if will be there, because here there are multiple conditions. So here two conditions are there. So we can use Ifs function in order to find the function in which in some if function you have to write the first of all the criteria for which you have to make a sum. So the salary column, that is D3 to D15, will be first written. Then the first criteria, that the department is sales. So your second criteria range you have to write, that is C3 to C15. Then you have to write a criteria that sales you have to write in inverted commas. Then you have to select a second criteria for criteria range. So you have to select a B3 to B15, and then you have to write the second criteria in inverted commas greater than 30 or less than 35. So it will calculate the sum of the salaries of that employees, those who are working in a sales department and whose salary whose age is less than 35. So you can use that some functions. You can also use count functions. Some quick functions also will be available by selecting the menu options. So in menu options, if you want to perform the sum or average, then directly you can select the sum or average functions in that one. So suppose you want to make a sum, then in menu options there will be sum button will be there. If you will click on that sum button, then it will directly calculate all the data that will be in a range. So by using quick functions, you can also use a sum functions. Some if statement that we have shown. Now sum if function we have shown. Some Excel formulas that we can use in Excel, that is the some textual formulas will be there that will be represent some operations on the text. There are some mathematical formulas that will be used for mathematical operations, some sin theta, cos theta value, tan theta values, some trigonometric values, or some any expression, mathematical operations you want to perform, then you can use that mathematical formula. Some similarly statistical formula will be used, dates formula will be used. In statistics you can find various functions directly, t table value, f table value, or any operations that will be used in a statistical that will be used in Excels by selecting that formulas. So that formulas that we can use in a Excel. There are some special features of the Excel, and that will be a sorting. Sorting is nothing but we have to arrange the data either in ascending or descending order. So you can sort the data up to 3 level in Excel. First you have to write in a first level you have to write the field, you have to select the field. Then in second level you have to select another field. So according to first field, okay, if that will match if same records will be that, then it will go for second level, and then it will be up to third level. You can also remove the level, or you can also add more level. So up to 3 level you can sort the data either in ascending or in descending orders. The another that filtering that we have shown, that is auto filter and advanced filter options will be available in Excels in order to capture the data that if you have large amount of data, and if you will find the data that will match the criteria. So by using advanced filter we can find the criteria, we can find the data that will match the criteria. So using advanced filter we can use that option also. Then we can also use a conditional formatting. So using a conditional formatting, we can format the data. It will not change the content of the data, but it will change the looks that the data will likes according to our condition. So we can make a bold, italic, or we can change the colors of the text. We can change the fonts using a conditional formatting. So in conditional formatting we have to write the conditions that will match the criteria. So according to the criteria it will format the data, and that is known as a conditional formatting. Then we can also use a create a drop down list. Suppose you want to create a drop down list, then first of all, you have to write the items that you want to list in a drop down menu. So first of all, after writing the all values in a drop down menu, you have to list it and you have to define that cells, the list of the values as a you have to define as a range. You have to give the range name. Then you have to select data validation options in data menu, and in data validation options you have to select a drop down list, and by selecting drop down list you have to give the range name that you have what in which you have to select the values. So by clicking on OK, it will create a drop down list for the options.
Students, I hope that all of you enjoy this expert session which is delivered by Mr. Shailesh Patel on Microsoft Excel 2013, and which is that might be useful for your career perspective. And thank you very much, sir, Mr. Shailesh Patel, sir, on behalf of the BISEC Sandhan, and thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you.
SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.